On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if an Invincible can stop a Viltrumite named Conquest with less than 2 billion casualties. If Daredevil can get a jury to acquit the White Tiger with less than 2 billion casualties. And if Harley Quinn can stop Lena Luthor in a bottle episode that isn't a bottle episode with less than 2 billion casualties. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every live-action TV show based on a comic book, but also all the cartoons we feel like watching. I'm reading from an old script, and I'm your host for the night, Mike Gravano. With me, as always, is Ryan.
Hey, Mike, it's Ryan. This is actually producer Ryan, not your co-host. Do you want to take this all again and do a different voice, or do you want to stick with this sexy FM late night? Hey, Dolores, Steve's out there and he's thinking about you. Do you want to do this voice all night?
Are you worried our listeners will be too turned?
Yeah, I'm worried about
driving out.
The amount of erections that are just going all throughout the town.
Everybody's car seats just sopping wet.
Everybody's horns went off because their boner hit the horn. And horn is a way to say that you're horny.
To be horny, yes. No, I think I'll stay with his voices.
Cool. I'm so happy about that decision.
I bet you are. Ryan, it's a Mike and Ryan mess around.
Oh, you did not. I just realized you did not introduce anybody else.
No. They heard this voice and turned tail and ran.
Okay. We had 6 co-hosts for you tonight, but 5 of them are gone, so it's just me.
Who are you most sad about losing?
Probably LeVar Burton. I thought that he could have brought a lot to this, sang the Reading Rainbow theme song a couple times.
I bet you, I'm sorry, but you can still sing it.
No, I can't. It just doesn't come out of.
You're going to start at the end of the song.
And also, he doesn't sing the theme song. None of these facts matter to what we're talking about tonight.
Take a look.
That's not where it starts either. That's towards the end of the song.
Okay, but it's less towards the end than yours was, so I'm more.
Congratulations on your victory here.
I don't have to outrun the cheetah, Ryan. I have to run you.
Yeah, I always outrun the cheetah. Because cheetahs never prosper.
Damn. That's fast. Okay, fuck it. I'll talk like this. Is this what you want?
Yeah, with your cursing.
I hate it. I hate it myself.
Your fucking Detroit suburb voice. Okay, fuck it. Well, I'm tough.
We are here to talk about Invincible. Ryan, I'm going to let you know that the spoiler alert for 2 minutes from now, we are not going to say, did Invincible stick the landing? So we'll talk about that right now. Did Invincible stick the landing for you?
No.
I heard what you said. I need you to know. I listened to last week's episode.
That I was never going to watch again?
He's become a pussy. Yeah, and then I was like, wow, he's going to miss the finale and the main segment? That's crazy.
No, I watched, but I let myself down again.
You let yourself down, you let me down, and worst of all, you let Invincible down. Let's just dive right in. On this season finale of bold but letters come in and interrupt me and Ryan, Invincible. Viltrum sends their attack dog Conquest to see if Mark's prepared Earth for the takeover. Seeing that he hasn't, Conquest shoves Mark through buildings, people, mountains, and himself. Oliver and Eve come to help to varying degrees of failure. Tasty Ryan, I ask you this. Does the finale balance the extremes of character moments and violence, or is it just gratuitous for the sake of gratuitousness?
It was so crazy to watch your mouth, which I often do. It's a purdy mouth. Say that whole question without saying stick the landing, but I knew that your mouth wanted to. You wanted so bad.
No, because I already said it.
But you wanted to say it again. It didn't stick the landing, just like every time Conquest. And by the way, anybody named Conquest, I'm probably not going to deal with. I'm going to move that over to your side of handling.
I'd rather not deal with it.
Set the landing like Invincible did. In every building he fell through for, I'm going to say, 43 minutes straight. This was longer than 9/11.
It it was at a certain point the extremeness feels like nothing because you were numb because it's happening so much. So there's no highs and lows. There's no nuance. Hey, listen to the Pixies. Soft, loud, soft, guys.
Wait, I thought Nirvana invented that. Nirvana, the first rock band.
They did.
Do you remember when Nirvana was on Ed
Pixies
Sullivan?
went, that's great. I do. And people were like, wow, those lovable lads of Liverpool.
They were like, hello, smells like Teen Spirit, don't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah, like when towards the end of the fight in hour 6, Conquest pushes one of Mark's joints, bones out of his body, and he screams in pain. I was like, how has this not already happened? And also, how do you expect me to be like, no, I can't believe that this has happened after everything I've just witnessed for literally, okay, I won't say 12 hours or 6 hours. I will say my honest guess is like 32 minutes of nonstop brutality.
And it's not like, oh, cool choreography or cool inventive. It's just shoving through new shit, At this point, we've 3 seasons in, and he's not even learning in real time here. So much just punching without thinking. Think a little, Mark. Grow a little. Get a little strategic, you fucking infant.
Punch in the, what do you call this middle part? The diaphragm?
The
solar plex.
Yeah.
Because this is your solar plex, and then you turn around, it's your Googleplex.
It's your Googleplex, and that means the asshole.
That's
punch right up the asshole.
You know what? Why don't you punch up an asshole every once in a while? Which is how I'm going to tell you that I don't want to talk to you anymore. Why don't you go punch up an asshole? But yeah, and then, like, as you said, Oliver comes in. Eve comes in. Mark's mom comes in from one point and just hits him with her purse. Like,
she did the best, actually. Debbie rocked it.
Which is
because she's the only one who had no tooth fly out of her mouth.
It just becomes the Simpsons video game where she's hitting the bag out with her vacuum. And then every time she gets electrocuted, we see her skeleton. And then every time they fall into a sewer, they say, "Who turned the lights out?"
That game was fun, right?
Simpsons or Ninja Turtles? Because I'm like mixing metaphors here.
Yeah, you're going back, but those two. I mean, one of them ripped off the other, and we're not here to accuse who and who came first.
I will tell you this, Mike. I like playing the Simpsons or the Ninja Turtles games. I don't want to watch on YouTube somebody else playing them, which is exactly what this episode was.
Old. I actually was struggling. I find there's so little to talk about. Like I was like, how are we going to fill a main segment? Because so we both agree it feels like gratuitous for gratuity's sake. Kirkman wrote this.
Yeah, I saw that. And
so is he was it Bendis who did the Ultimates who went through a divorce? So he just had everybody being fucking terrible during.
You're thinking of both Mark Millar, and when Spielberg and Scorsese and Coppola all made movies at the same time about how terrible their divorce was.
But Millar didn't write the
and
Ultimates where Blob was eating Janet. That was it doesn't matter. But it was not Millar. Millar did his own Millar-y things. But somebody else was just like, went through a divorce. And so who's the guy who wrote Dark Halloween?
Loeb. It
was Jeff Loeb, which is why it's even more surprising. Loeb just biffed it hard on the end of the Ultimates with, hey, get in a good place. Don't write something. Let somebody else do it and make something interesting. This was so uninteresting.
Let me ask you a question, because did you age out of this show? And
in the last 2 years?
Yeah. And well, maybe. I mean, did the show keep going in its direction and you kept going in yours? And now it's just not for us. Like, you know, you always talk about how much you hate Dragon Ball Z, even though it was never made for you. Is this just not for us? We're talking about Kirkman, but we can also talk about the producers, Rogan and Goldberg.
Evan.
Who are also doing The Boys, which I feel like is just about to age out of us. Are we just a little bit, not ahead, not too smart, just been there, done that, need to move on? And it's not the show's
fault. And maybe with their shticks, and Invincible and The Boys are different, but there's a lot of similarities. The Venn diagram, there's a big blue dot in the middle. It might be that maybe these shticks have 2 seasons in them.
Mm-hmm.
and then you should get out.
Because the only
But also, I'm of the age where every show should probably have 2 or 3 seasons. And then
Do you know what I like? I like a show that it has 90 minutes in them. We call it a movie.
Movies.
But this is what I like. The other thing, too, is that, like, if you are going to make a show like Invincible or The Boys, the one-upmanship of the previous season and all other shows around you, that has to wear you down as writers, right? Like, this is the longest fight I've ever seen on TV.
One-up character moments. What if you could one-open, like, arcs and growth, which they did. There's a lot of good stuff in this season. I loved the very in the margins story of Rex finally learning not just how to be an adult but a human and like what life is all about. The Rex Ray stuff was my favorite of the season because it was so different than everything else that was fucking happening.
This season also had the Cecil, Walter Goggins origin. This season also had the 2 career criminals couple.
Yes.
So, I mean, like, it's capable of that stuff, but it almost feels like, you fucking dirty bitches. We gave you all that fucking shit at the beginning of the season. So now we get to do this. And we're going to come out of this balance of, like, so now we have the amount of violence and character moments that we want. Bro, last week I explained why I was done with the show, right? And I know you weren't here, but watching a mother and her baby burn to a crisp for almost no reason was rough stuff. That seems more personal and less critical. This is like, can you just maybe just warn me which episodes I don't need to watch anymore?
It was a big bummer.
What if we were just done?
I'm done. Yeah, we could just like the other Kirkman properties. We could just be done with this the way we're done with The Walking Dead for very different reasons. I know, boring is because it's boring. And also, like, the 8 cliffhangers. You get, like, oh, here's all the Martian squid things. And here's Angstrom and Levy, who's souped up.
Oh, my God.
And then there's just so many different, like, groups of baddies who are, like, and here's, like, demon people who I don't even know if we've seen.
What's so ridiculous to me, and I don't think it was on purpose, but do you know what song played over the final montage where we got all of the, like, what could happen in season 4? Do you remember what song?
No.
It's 9 Inch Nails. Every day is exactly the same. And we watch those fucking mushroom brain tentacle things jump on people for the umpteenth time.
Do they do that at the end of every season? Just show that? Like, is this all?
Not just Invincible. Like, at the end of every season of Hacks, those fucking...
Family Matters. What's your moment of the week?
My moment of the week has to be... this is, I think, the 4th of 12 times where Mark thinks he has the one-upmanship on somebody named Conquest.
Right.
We didn't talk about his fucking speech of, like, I want to cry every day, but nobody would care.
I don't have friends. Even the rabid dogs think I'm a rabid dog.
I tried to start a podcast, but nobody would talk on it with me. But 4th of 12 times where Mark thinks he has the upper hand, he headbutts him 1,000 times, and it goes to an angle lower than Mark, and he is just, and it looks like, I would say, if this was a porno called Your Girl Is Having Her Period, Mike, that's what I was thinking the entire time. Do you have to go down on your wife? Do you headbutt her genitalia?
Yes. I never learned how to do it right.
No, I think you did learn.
Oliver shows up, the boy wonder, does not listen to anybody. Like, here's what you should do when you get to this fight, because he's never listened to this whole season. So this 800-year-old man destroys this 8-month-old boy who looks like an 8-year-old boy. And then Oliver spits his teeth out 3 times in a row, which did make me laugh. And to the point, like, they had to know that was going to make me laugh, right? I'm not like, oh, no,
Oliver's like, there's no way there's more teeth. Is there? Oh, there is. Was one of Conquest's finishing moves on Oliver to put a blood bag in his mouth just so he had more blood come out of his mouth?
For sure. That is the conspiracy theorists are saying he actually didn't hit him at all. That there's a blood bag. And then he started to pull him in two. But that's when I was like, oh, this might be the producer situation. They didn't want this to go on this long, and they are trying to get, like, the 3 teeth in a row before you're ripping a little boy in half. I'm like, you don't want to write this show.
How many teeth? Okay, so Oliver is half Viltrumite, half
Bug?
bug. So
Yeah.
I don't want to compare his mouth to my mouth, but what do we have, like 32?
Hey, let's compare mouths. Yeah, 32 teeth is a normal adult.
Let's remember which podcast we're on and not your OnlyFans stream. He spit out so many teeth. One more moment of the week, or a question for you, Mike.
Sure. Question of the
In a new segment, in the thousands of Return of the King endings that we got, which is typical of any season, end of any season. The very first one were Adam, Eve taking off Invincible's clothes. Are they melting? Are her powers going wonky? Are the animators like big Lisa Frank fans and they just wanted like purple and pink streaky this?
90s are back, baby. I don't know what that was supposed to indicate. But also, like, I know Eve has a brand new body. You probably should let Mark rest. Like, sex probably won't be good for him, right?
She wants to go to town hardcore. Also, man, moment of the week.
Moment of the week.
Can we have a writer summit before season 4 about Adam Eve's powers? Because I understand that like she is this celestial being and she has something in her brain that keeps them, but like when she's being blocked, she's just like a weak ass Green Lantern who throws like
she's Green Lantern meets Dark Phoenix. Yeah,
she has the ability to change matter, right?
Sure, sometimes. But most of the time, it's just like, can't I make pink glass? Invincible is on Prime. Hey, and you know what? If you like it, defend yourself. We're doing a 600th episode
Pretty soon.
And we want your emails. So write to us and tell us how we're so wrong about our feelings about Invincible. contact@popfilter.co. Ryan, before we move on to the rest of the shows this week, you were talking about a website idea you had.
I did have one. Do you want to know what it is?
I would love to.
Are your clothes like not Lisa Frank enough? Well,
yes.
Here's what you do. You fucking, from my website, it's called acid.com. You buy some acid and then you look at clothes and they will look fucked up.
So it makes it look Lisa Frank to you, but not to everybody. Unless, can I buy acid and slip it to people and not tell them?
That's not something that this website is allowed to say, but look at my head moving up and down. Hell yes, you can. Is your party like kind of boring because everybody's like, I will never do acid? Slip them some acid.
Yeah. Just slip them some acid. I like this. And then how is this different than the Silk Road on the dark web?
Oh, it's easily get toable. So you just type in amazon.com/acid and you go right to us and get some fucking acid up in there.
That's just one of those affiliate sites. So yeah, don't hide your shit on the dark web. Nobody can get to
I know.
That. Just be in the normal web.
My mom is always calling me like, how do you get to the dark web? I can't get my acid.
Hey, mom, Ryan's. Now you just go to amazon.com/
I love how you call my mom by
last
name, first name. Mom, yes. Ryan's.
I need this to be real because my guy got popped, so I need to figure out how to get my LSD. And we should be clear that it's Amazon, UMAZON.
Such a good point.
And I need this to exist, so I'm going to send you to my friends at cybersprout.net. And if I know one thing about everybody over at Cybersprout, they love to trip balls. And that's why they're so good at design. They're experts. They're well-versed in digital strategy. And they're going to work hand in hand in like doodly, how many fingers does it have hand, to make your website so good. They're going to focus on collaboration, all the goal-driven design, and your website will reach the right customers, Ryan. They're going to give you the tools and training that make managing and tweaking everything a breeze.
Like I just thought of a new one though, or I didn't think of it. I've been working on this for a while, but do you think Cybersprout could help me with this new one?
A new website? Yeah, they don't have a limit. It's your bank account's the limit.
Okay, I'm so glad because some people can't afford to.
But they're affordable.
Some people can't afford to buy a Frank, and some people like it. Obviously doesn't make sense to rent one. So can you lease a Frank? Can I leaseafrank.com?
Visit cybersprout.net to get started. They're your partner for the digital world. It's time for the pull list, where we talk about every other show that came out this week that we deem worthy enough to talk about. Ryan?
On the third episode of Daredevil, let's talk about Daredevil.
Oh, cool. Let's do it.
On the third episode of Daredevil Born Again, Wilson Fisk and Vanessa are into some serious shit, talking about paintings or whatever. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock and crew are providing us with a pretty great court story featuring flipping witnesses, secret identity reveals, a race to the courthouse, a verdict, and a hell of a cliffhanger. Taste buds, I ask you this. Do we need Daredevil in our Daredevil?
So many idiots on the internet. Again, if you pissed at what we're saying, contact at popfilter.co. So many internet idiots on the internet are like, well, Daredevil's not even showing up. What's the point of this? This episode ruled. It fucking slapped. I didn't know any writer at Marvel could do a courtroom drama, and it's not like the best, right? It's not the verdict, but it's still fucking entertaining.
Nobody said you can't handle the truth, which is like sort of my bar as far as what's good and what's bad in courtrooms. But man, are fake ass courtrooms. I'm not saying that this is like what courtrooms are actually like, but fake ass Hollywood courtrooms are just fucking catnip to me, man. I will watch any story ever.
It helped build him and his partner, McDuffie's, their relationship there. It showed the judge is like, gosh darn it, I hate you, but I respect the cut of your jib.
Like every judge.
The bad guy, the DA, who's just like such a good slimy. He's a character actor who's always a slimy piece of shit, right?
I have 180 DAs under me, and I guarantee you'll never work in this town again. What are you, a fucking cowboy sheriff?
Yeah, Matt's like, I'm a private practice.
Wonderful.
That doesn't affect me.
Also, you're screaming at a blind man. Courtrooms also feature cameramen who will, when White Tiger says, I love my sister and my niece very much, they'll hold on that niece for a really long time, Mike. We won't get to the ending yet, but who do you think might have a bigger part to play in the future of this season?
Who do you think you are, Mr. White Tiger? Both that sister and the niece.
Mr. White Tiger, I quit. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What did you say?
Both the sister and the niece in the comics have become White Tiger.
Oh, really?
So they're like, we haven't cast it yet. We'll see.
I wish there was like an HBO Max reality show for this Disney Plus show about which of these actresses will become White Tiger in the future of the Disney Plus show.
I also wish that. So yeah, that's the kind of like world building I want from this. It hangs for a second, but if you don't know, you don't know, and that's fine too. We got a killer scene in the bathroom of the courthouse. So the courthouse is more than just the courtroom, Ryan. Of dirtbag cop who knows the blind guy beat him up, and he does not know how to handle this right now.
Did not die, although he was thrown around an apartment like a fucking stuffed animal you hate in the last episode.
Also, Matt is not as beat up as he looked at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Line producer was not doing that job.
Producer's probably doing lines. Matt looks great, as he always does. Charlie Cox. But this cop has sort of like a yellowing black eye, and that's all that he got from, like, I think breaking his back and his neck in the last episode.
I was wondering, and I don't actually care. I don't think this is like good criticism, but I was wondering because we know there was a retooling, and so there is two different eras of show and the season of show we're watching. And I was like, I wonder if this is from one era where they're like, there was a light tussle, and then the new show was just like, we fucking broke your back on a fridge.
Dude, Matt murdered both of those cops. I did expect this third episode to take a different turn than what it did because he murdered two policemen, but it's fine. The third episode is what we got, and I loved it. But yeah, in the bathroom, it leads to Matt Murdock allegedly being an incredible lawyer, right? Not just relying on his blindness to get the sympathy of the jury, but being a great lawyer. His first question out of the gate to the cop was like, oh, man, fucking somebody fucked you up, didn't they, bro? Man, your face looks messed up.
He doesn't use his blindness as a crutch. He's not Maggie lies her ass off from Arrested Development.
It does make it hard for cops, though, to like, although the cop in the bathroom is like, you're not blind.
Right.
You beat my ass.
But then that cop is the same one he calls out on the stand, knows he can't be like, this guy isn't blind. Because if he tried to throw a Bible at Matt would let it hit him to make the cop look like the asshole he is.
What do you think of the treatment of police throughout the first 3 episodes in 2025? We have this courtroom storyline, not just scene, but storyline, is always cutting to a group of 40 cops who are in the court, and they're all like nodding yes or no to everything. Yeah, like, guys, Hell's Kitchen, full of crime.
There are people right now jumping turnstiles, and that costs $3.25 that you could kill. I think I generally like how it's treating cops, which is showing them what they are, bastards. Except that some of them, by the end of Matt outs Hector as White Tiger, and some of the cops are like, "Oh, he is a good guy." Then instead of being like, "You back the blue, you don't cross the thin blue line no matter what."
I just love the cuts to that group of 40 cops who are always like, no matter what you just said, they're always like, "Oh, interesting, yeah." Just they all have the same nod.
No, they were there and know exactly what they're reacting to at all times.
The way that this was filmed, somebody was playing the Baja Men, and they were just like, "All right, slowly nod to this, please."
A part where, like, again, and I like this episode, but dumb and reactions is Nikki Torres lies, but the crowd reacts big to that. They're like, "Oh, we were told he was there, now he's not." And then Hector's on stage and he's like, I didn't know the man's name till I ended here, and it was Nikki Torres." And people were like, this part, that was somebody who was on their phone and did not get what is happening at all.
There's a show on Netflix, I want to say, called The Pit. Have you watched it yet?
No.
It takes place in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And
it's a city.
It's a hospital show, and every doctor,
it's ER. It's not ER.
Every ER doctor that watches it says this is the most realistic thing of all time. No lawyer has ever watched a single anything in the history of film and TV that has said that, like, court is the most boring bullshit. But I love how they've juiced it up like this and have people gasp at stuff and we spent so much time, which I loved, of getting Nikki Torres to the courtroom. And fake cars, and I didn't even see that part of, like, when he got in the taxi instead of the van. Like, that was all
they didn't show it.
Yeah, that was all shitty sleight of hand from the show. Whatever, working for me. And then when he got to the witness stand so easily, it's like, oh, he's clearly going to turn. I don't know why. I don't know if he's like, that's how dedicated he is to the cops, but it doesn't matter. It's courtroom drama.
Oh, he looked terrified because there's those 40 cops who mostly nod at everything. Except there's a couple who have to scratch at their new Punisher tattoos, no matter where they are on their bodies. So that's what that was.
Matt and McDuffie?
Yeah.
And the guy who drove the van.
Cherry? Was he Gus in season 5 of The Wire?
Yeah. I think so. He does look familiar, and he's just part of the crew now, but he's like the muscle as far as this team has muscle. Sure. They go back and they drink some bourbon and they try to figure out what to do. And they're like, "Oh, we're fucked." So then Matt has to not tell them about it, but then reveal who
Hector about it.
Hector is. And I love this thing about Matt. He's so dedicated to doing what's right and making sure there's justice, but such a fucking crazy piece of shit lunatic. Like, yes. He will just do whatever.
And Hector was like, "Hey, man, you should have at least run that by me."
Like, we always talk about how, like, Mark Grayson from Invincible, that's just Peter Parker, right? Everyone's just Peter Parker. That's not Matt. And that's what I sort of love about this show.
Matt is gonna Matt. Ryan, what's your moment of the week?
Oh, I mean, do I have an option here? Like, White Tiger, Hector, is freed. And Matt says to him, while Hector is in his jail cell, if you're acquitted, you can't be White Tiger again. He's like, right. Oh, yeah, no, of course. The second he is out on the streets, he puts on the White Tiger mask, and he is shot, Mike, by somebody. He's shot in the head by somebody who is wearing a Punisher skull on his chest.
We hear the fakest tussling.
Yeah.
Fakest screams.
Oh, ow, someone's hurting me.
And he goes, "Well, I got to go slowly run up a hill to figure out what's going on here," and gets shot right in the head by him. It's clearly not the Punisher. I don't think this is Frank Castle. I think this is the reason why we get Frank Castle. Because I don't wear hockey pads. Somebody's pretending to be the Punisher, and the Punisher doesn't love that.
And we have seen cops in the first 2 episodes have skull tattoos, right?
The thin blue line tattoos.
So we didn't even mention Wilson Fisk's name in this segment. I hate how Trumpy it is. Like, in this one, he just says, after Hector is acquitted, well, you can't believe juries and judges anymore.
Right.
I mean, like, they are putting it on so thick. But I do like what they're doing with No, fuck real ass cops
Yes.
who have really, instead of doing what the comic books did of changing the Punisher skull, they're saying fuck these idiots.
Why should I change when he's the one that sucks? Office Space, Michael Bolton.
Punisher was not a good guy. He was an anti-hero, but probably a villain. And now they're saying, no, cops are the villain. Cops are actually the villain. Punisher is a level above the cops.
Facts. That is a great one. Mine was just Matt revealing the White Tiger identity and the crowd freaking out and all of it going. And then they're like reading the police reports.
Do you get why?
See courtroom drama.
Do you get why Karen Page bailed though? Because now the people currently on Matt's team are like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
You hypocrite. Daredevil, Born Again is on Disney Plus. New episodes every Tuesday night. Next up is Harley Quinn.
On the penultimate episode of Harley Quinn, Harley and Ivy, along with Bruce, Lois, and Joker, are on the hunt for Lex Luthor. They need him to come up with a plan to stop Lena, who is the new Brainiac and is bottling Metropolis. Once they finally get him to space to talk to his sister, Lex and Lena decide to team up and bottle the world. Taste buds, I ask you this. Do we officially think for sure that the Floronic Man is not the big bad of the season?
I think that might be the twist, is he's been controlling them the whole time.
I mean, like, what a smooth, quiet play from this show.
From the Floronic Man?
No, from the writers of Harley Quinn to, like, think Floronic Man is just in the background. But really, he's so much more important than Lena and Lex ever would be in this show.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the reign of DC Comics, Floronic Man is infinitely more important than Lex Luthor.
I mean, Darkseid is always like, oh, I'm powerful, but I wish I was the Floronic Man.
I'm no Floronic Man.
Mike, do you know who plays Harley's mother in this show?
No, tell me.
It is Susie Essman, the star of...
From Curb?
Yes, the star of Curb. The funniest part of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Harley Quinn was like, we need a, we'll say ethnic mother to just scream curse words at Harley, her daughter. Why don't we go get Susie Essman? And I fucking love it.
You're a Susie yes man.
I don't know how you do it, but I love that you do.
How do you like that her mom's superpower is she's kind of the squirrel girl of this universe of like, she just accidentally fixes everything.
Yeah.
Helps everybody while eating all the tiny fridge sandwiches and peeing everywhere.
I don't know if it's, you hit a certain age and you're like, I don't give a fuck. And my don't give a fuck is going to work out for me. And if it doesn't, I don't give a fuck. And although I don't want to age, I can't wait for that stage.
You keep rhyming.
And of course, a word that does not exist is lage.
To lage means to love in Old English.
Do you know what Susie Essman being on here reminded me of? Two of the shows that I laugh the hardest at, Harley Quinn and Curb Your Enthusiasm, don't have setups or punchlines. They just curse in such a perfect way that it tickles me.
And it's one of those, like, that's such a hard skill because anybody's like, oh, I can curse a lot. It's not gonna hit the right. And it's not gonna hit right.
It's not a lot. Like my favorite DC character of all time, besides those clowns
Floronic Man
in the White House, is Lois Lane. Oh. I think I have realized that. I've come to terms with the fact that Lois Lane is my favorite DC character, and Joker they're on like a bridge next to each other watching Metropolis get bottled, and he's talking shit on her relationship to Superman or Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And Lois Lane just screams, "Oh, fuck off, Joker." And it's such a good fuck. And like, it's not clever. It's just funny.
They are pitching in this a very, like, another spinoff, and it's Joker and Lois going, because the two of them going off each other and then at each other's throats, but then also both burning Bruce a bunch, like interrupting him. He's doing the whole Mission Impossible. Here's what the plan's going to be. And they both interrupt him to tell him how dumb he is the whole time, just to crack some wise.
Does Lois sort of know who Batman is? But Joker has no fucking
Joker
clue.
has no idea. The show kind of seems like only Harley knows. Even Ivy doesn't know.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't know if Lois knows or not, if she's just playing it cool.
But this billionaire keeps calling things Bat blank. You know what? I know, and that's all I need to know.
That's all
I
you need to know.
who Bruce Wayne is, or who.
Another great runner is Joker's obsessed with Sophia's internship and getting her hours, and he just keeps bringing, even while people are dying. And that's the thing that, like, that sounds dumb, but it tickled me.
Okay, so now do we officially let's put Pharaonic Man aside? Do we think that Lena is the big bad of the season?
I think
With
you know
one
what?
episode to go.
I might finally be ready to say that. I haven't thought or said that this whole season, but I think I might finally be ready to say that Lena, don't call her Lana Luthor, is the big bad.
Are you nervous now that the Luthors are together?
They might fuck, according to Poison Ivy.
Did you not think that before I said it?
There's a bunch of tension. That was the perfect, let's just point out the Monopoly ban.
I've watched enough.
We made this thing point at it.
I've watched enough 12-minute videos online, and I want to tell you the website that it very clearly they want to have sex with each other. Why not? They're attractive.
Be worried if she's like, look at that step, brother, then run, because they're about to.
Or Ryan, look at that washer, Lex. I want to put my lens.
What's your moment of the week?
My moment of the week is and will always be for the rest of this season, depressed Brainiac just laying face down in his little bottle. I don't like the fact that he was so close to what he wanted, which was supreme control, but like for reasons that are confusing. It wasn't evilness. It was sort of like once he got a play written about him, is that the American dream?
Oh, yeah.
Is Alexander Hamilton living the American dream because a play was written about him? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's just laying face down, just being like, "Rrr." And if you watch Harley Quinn with subtitles on HBO Max, it will say Brainiac : disgruntled sigh or
nice.
I love Brainiac.
I got two. They're flying. They have Lex and him and Ivy in their back. And I think because they both try to wrest control of the Legion of Doom, so they're awkward. There's awkward silence. And then Ivy, with the most poppinest peas, she just goes, yup, 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 yup. A great quiet moment. And then a great Bruce moment, batshit depressed. Sorry to say batshit. But he has this little mini monologue. And he goes, what about me isn't enough for Lena? Is it I sometimes skip leg day? Is it my veneers? Is it that gray hair I found? Is it because I say tomatoes and she says tomatoes? I mean, is that enough to kill the whole thing off?
Holy shit.
I love this, Bruce.
I feel like that last part that you said, which I'm going to assume is the reason for it being moment of the week, that is like somebody found the key to Mike's joke diary and opened it up and found that written word for word.
Yeah, it is up my butt and around the corner, Ryan. Harley Quinn is on Max for one more week. I mean, they're not going to remove it, but the new ones on Thursday nights. And that is
wait, hold on, stop. You are caught in between this week on Superhero plus Mike plus Bruce Wayne right now. And I need you to just focus and pick a voice.
All right, I'll do the voice that I was doing.
God damn it.
God, this show.
You know what? I deserve this.
Also, I would never be gruff and tough enough to do this week on the Superhero Show. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know who that guy is, but it ain't me.
Oh, that's the board. We should tell people that the board does that.
Board.
In unison.
Ryan, let's talk about some websites.
Of course, Mike. I'll do that in my normal voice. This is what I sound like. Yourpopfilter.com is a really old website that we do not use anymore. Popfilter.co?
Yes.
Is our current website. So that's where you should go to get all of the articles, farticles, schmears, and fears.
I forgot about farticles.
That's where we would bottle up a fart and mail it to the website.
And cybersprout.net helps with that.
Yeah. Drag and drop.
Drag and drop. Can you also tell everybody about our sister show?
Sure. Movie of the Year is finally, mercifully, back to doing the year 1996. Guys, we are deep into it. We're going to wrap up the season so hardcore with That Thing You Do. Heard of it? Jerry Maguire, Ghost in the Shell, The Birdcage. Guys, 1996, Movie of the Year. This is where it's at.
The most recent episode that you can check out right now is the aforementioned Jerry Maguire with special guests C.G. Mirich and Melinda Clark from the OC.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me we got CG mirrorage?
Yeah. The board is connected in ways that are unfathomable. You can, of course, follow us on Instagram at Your Pop Filter, on YouTube, Pop Filter Co. Email us if we said anything controversial that raised your ire.
Guys, Mike really wants you to love Invincible and email us about it. Please.
Oh, I want this person to exist. I'm making up a guy and getting mad about him. Contact at popfilter.co. Next week is the finale of Harley Quinn, and of course, more Daredevil, Born Again. Enough said.
I wish my colon was born again. I'll tell you what.